everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm a board game reviewer, and we review thousands of board games. I'm close to playing, I played 9,000 plus games at this point in time, and I get asked to review a lot of games. And, people will give me all sorts of reasons. They'll tug on the heartstrings to get me to review their game, whatever it might be. They'll tell me the journey, or maybe they'll just send me the game. But there's a lot of things to review, and so many games come out over the course of a year. There's just thousands of games, and we can't review everything, so I had to make some decisions. So one thing, I don't review prototypes. I don't look at prototypes just for my sanity and sake of time. I also cut print-on-demand style games. The biggest in this is Game Crafter. Game Crafter is awesome. It's a great place to get a nice-looking prototype of your game. They have cool game components and everything. But there's just no oversight there because anybody can put a game on there. There's no one's checking it. And now it's a published game. And we just don't have time to sift through all the chaff to find the good ones with that and other print-on-demand services like that. But honestly, it's becoming that way anywhere. With the advent of crowd-funded games from Kickstarter and GameFound, anybody can make a game if they convince people to fund it. And so there's these, like I said, thousands of games coming out a year. And at the Dice Tower, we review more board games than anybody else, and yet we review a fraction of them. We can't cover most of them. So how do we choose what to review? There's so many games out there, and I have seen game designers and publishers complain that their games get short shrift. I saw a game designer complaining that a game comes out, it's there for a moment, and it's gone. And part of that is just how many games are out there. Are there too many games out there? Probably. We do all sorts of things to cover as many games as we possibly can. We'll do short game rounds up. But the problem is the game still can come. We talk about it for a moment, and it's gone. That is the vast majority. 99% of games aren't talked about much 3 months after they've been published. That's not fair. It really isn't. But what is fair? How does a game get fair treatment? And the fact of the matter is, it just doesn't. There's lots of factors that go in to make a game popular. Even on crowdfunded games, what makes those popular? We have not yet been able to figure that out. What makes a game successful? If a company figured that out, they would put out hit after hit. But even your favorite company who puts out mega hits has the occasional dud or so. But coming back to us here at the Dice Tower, what do we choose to review? Well, there's lots of factors that go into it. We definitely consider the box cover and the art. Yes, they say don't judge a book by its cover. That's nonsensical. We definitely judge games by their covers. Of course we do. If a game looks boring and has a boring look to it, we're not going to sit there and go, it's probably good. No, you do judge on that. We judge on theme. This is a theme that interests me. We judge based on previous designs by publishers and designers. Hey, this publisher has put out a lot of games I like. And yeah, sometimes it's based on the popularity of a game. Hey, this game's very popular. We'd be foolish not to take a look at the popular games like, oh, that game's popular. Well, we're not going to cover it. No, we take a look at all these things. But I'll tell you what it doesn't have to do when we pick games to review. It has nothing to do with the size of the publisher. And this happens a lot. I get complaints and there'll be people say, oh, you should check out my game because I'm an indie publisher. Well, what does that even mean anyway? Who's not an indie publisher? Okay, some are easy. We can say the giant companies, Hasbro, Mattel, Ravensburger, Asmodee at this point. They're the big companies, but you know what? That's pretty much it. There's a few, there's big publishers in Germany and such, but for the most part, everyone else other than that is small. A company that you think might be huge and sells thousands and thousands of games can still have a very small staff. Take Stonemaier Games, for instance. They have Wingspan, other big games, but they're a small little publisher. At what point does someone qualify as indie? And even if they do, does being small mean you get special treatment? Should it? Now, don't get me wrong here. I believe in covering the gamut of games. I really do. I believe the Dice Tower has covered more small, tiny publisher games than any other reviewer. In fact, I would even say we review more than the next 5 reviewers. We review the big, popular games, but we go out of our way to talk about all sorts of games from small publishers. But I don't think those outside factors should play into our review. Our review should be of the game, not the person who designed it. Just like if I met a designer and I don't like that designer, or I really like that designer, either way, I need to be fair to the game. My opinion of that designer should not affect my opinion of the game. And that's hard to do, right? But we strive to do that. So it's the same way here. I don't think you should get leniency or a false push because you are up and coming. Everyone today has access to the internet and access to tools that game designers and publishers wish they had 20, 30 years ago. It's easy to find good art for a game now. It's easy to find people. There's game designer forums and publishers and whole internet groups, and you can go find the tools and you can make your game look amazing. And some of the best games we see every year are from people that we never expected to see, or a new person. They make this game, or like, that game is phenomenal. But games need to stand on their own merits. We've definitely criticized games from larger companies for how they look and how their things. Rio Grande, we're always on them about how their games don't look so great, or Queen Games. And those are bigger companies, right? They're not considered indie companies by the people who call themselves indie companies. So why does you being a smaller company mean you get a pass? Art is art is art is art. Design is good or it's bad. So I have to get over, on a personal level, I have to get over not being able to cover everything. It bothers me. Every year, I'm like, we didn't cover so many games that came out this year. We just can't. I have a staff of people. We try to play games. We play games together. We review games together to get various viewpoints. But we also spread out, and there are many hundreds of games that we review where one of us has played it because we spread out. And I have to get over myself doing a bad review of a small publisher's game. It sucks. After I smash a game, I don't go back to my office and be like, well, that felt good. Because it doesn't feel good. But it's not like the game was amazing and we ruined its chances, although that is what happens in the comments. People will say, now no one will buy this game. The Dice Tower ruined its chances. Look, I'm not going to be falsely modest here. I don't think we are, selling hundreds of thousands of copies or even maybe thousands of copies of board games. But I do know if we say a game is fantastic or a game is bad, that does affect people. But I also know that we have said games are terrible and they've done amazingly well. I know I was one of the first reviewers of Boss Monster, for example, and I didn't like it that much at all. And it went on to sell over 1 million copies because who cares? It was, people liked it and enjoyed it. And so good games do rise to the top. And nowadays we're seeing reprints of pretty much any game. Not just great games, but good games get reprinted. So I feel pretty confident if your game is amazing and good, it will find a home. It will find an audience. The market has too many games. There's no denying that. Are we gatekeepers here at the Dice Tower? Not really. We do decide what games get played, yeah, but we decide not as we decide as gamers. We pull the same games off the shelf that the gamers do, and I know this because I take our game library to conventions and I watch what people pull off and play, and it's the same kind of stuff that we are doing. So the name of this video isn't completely accurate. I don't care about your indie game. I guess what I want to say is I don't care that your game is indie. I may care about the game or not, but indie is usually an adjective that people add to a game as a positive modifier. No one uses it in a pejorative way usually. It's usually done as an guilt trip or a surprise. I mean, this happens a lot in the video game industry. Look at this indie game. Don't miss this indie game. You'll miss out. And in the video game business, it does matter because there are huge publishing houses in the video game business. But the small little indie games still come out and still stun people. But every game almost that we review is indie, especially in our hobby here. We're not reviewing most of the Hasbro games. We're reviewing all sorts of games. And even if so, I don't believe it should affect our opinion or our review of the game in any fashion. I love that anybody can make a game these days. That's pretty awesome. I think the tools are widely available, and it's neat that people can put an effort into and make a game. But that doesn't mean I have to like it or dislike it. And and to act like the larger companies, the companies with 5 or 6 employees, Like when they make a game that it's not a labor of love, or that I should ignore them and only concentrate on the small publishers seems silly. It's also just as silly for me not to call out your game for the problems that it has. It's a disservice to our viewers, and it really doesn't help anybody. Comparing the bigger companies needs to be put in perspective. I'm not comparing McDonald's here to your local diner. What we're really doing is we're comparing this restaurant in your local diner to this franchise that has 2 restaurants. Like, oh, now that there's 2 locations, it's not as good, or something to that effect. Both are neat, but at the end of the day, when I pick where to go out to eat, I don't care if it's a chain, I don't care if it's a single restaurant, I want to go where they serve the best food, or more specifically, the food that I like. So, you're an indie publisher, fantastic. The world is your oyster. Go out and make fantastic games. You make a great game, we'll play it. Great games rise to the top. I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. Hey folks, thanks for watching another one of our videos. If you like our videos, if you like our channel, you would love to game with us at one of our conventions. Check out Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower West. Fantastic conventions where we play games with wonderful people, a humongous library, and lots of other events and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out our channel, like and subscribe. I'm Tom Vasel.